A very popular style of motorcycle is the cafe racer, and many people build those in their garages, customizing bikes from the 70s and 80s. However, there is one manufacturer that has that in their modern day lineup of models, and that is Moto Guzzi. Here behind me we have the Moto Guzzi V7 Racer. It is based on the original V7, which is a 67 launch bike, and what better platform to have a racer harking back to those days. This is now the 2020 V7 third edition racer. The reason the third edition 2020, the first edition was the 2012, which we have in our Route 21 collection, which we reviewed before. Major cosmetic differences: the tank is a chrome shiny tank. That eagle has the Moto Guzzi lettering under it. That tank strap is in a brown leather. The seat on top is a brown suede. The number board has a 7 in it, showing off being a V7. That red frame is a maroon metallic. Front and rear hubs are red as well. Other than that, cosmetically very similar. The major mechanical differences: mine has a 5-speed gearbox. This third edition has a 6-speed box, ABS front and back. Now, this to me, the third edition, is the last of the true V7s. Reason I say that is because the later 2021 models, when they launched that, it has a motor derived from the Moto Guzzi V85, meaning an 850cc. So this third edition has a 744cc, so that's where the V7 comes from. V being a 90-degree V layout motor, 744cc. Super cool history, this motor. We've covered it when we reviewed the Moto Guzzi Carbon. It was actually in short designed for the the Fiat 500 Cinquecento sport model. Successful, however, Moto Guzzi couldn't produce the units Fiat required. Then, not losing heart, Moto Guzzi entered this motor in a competition, the motor that covers the most mileage, call it 100,000 kilometers, with the lowest maintenance bill. This motor won. So super cool. 1967 launched in military bikes, police bikes and all of that, and here we still have this motor, obviously totally bulletproof. So in the oil-cooled transverse layout, true to Moto Guzzi, final drive going to the back as shaft drive, and just stunning. This motor gives you 52 horsepower at 6,200 RPM, 60 Newton meters at 4,900 RPMs. 6-speed box. And then what's important to note, this racer is also the highest spec V7 Moto Guzzi has in the range. They produce different guises of the V7, like the Stone, the Special, and then the Centenario and the Carbons. So always a different model. However, the highest spec, and the reason I say that, look at these foot pegs, knurled billet machined aluminium. Your rear suspension dual Öhlins both sides, and if you look up front, it is a limited production, open-ended numbered Moto Guzzi V7 Racer, bike number 669. So a number on the triple clamp, just absolutely stunning. The bike weighs 209 kilograms wet weight. The fuel is 21 liters in the tank, giving you just under 4 liters in reserve. The seat height is a really cool 770 millimeters, so 770. You can really sit on this thing comfortably. If you look, that super cool retro leather strap with a Moto Guzzi embossed, the red stitching, old school retro looking. The dual clocks up front is taken off the Special. The spoked wheels harking back to classic 18-inch front shod with 100, 17-inch back shod with a 130. That fly screen, actually more of a number board, brushed aluminium, same as that satin brush tank. Single headlight, those little boots up front, top gear, Brembo 4-piston calipers up front, 320mm disc, so good stopping power, disc at the back. All round a super retro classic bike based on a 67 platform. So it's a retro old school motor, retro old school design, and here we have it with all the safety and modern features and design factors of a new bike. So if you want a cafe racer, this is the one to have. It also harks back to the let's call it the most famous and most valuable of V7s, would be the 1971 Sport, that lime green with a red frame, then got nicknamed the Red Frame V7. Most probably the most collectible and desirable of V7 models. Let's jump on board and see how big a smile she can generate on my face. Here we are on the open road, Cape Town again. Best location. This is where I love testing and riding bikes. The seating position of this bike is better than expected. When you first see the bike and you see the silhouette of it, you do think you sit quite low, foot pegs are very high, tank is slim and long. You're going to be stretched out a little bit, cranked over, clip-on handlebars facing down. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit heavy on the lower back, forearms and neck. But sitting on the bike, I must say, if you see I'm sitting fairly upright, I can ride with one hand, comfortable, fairly upright. You do feel when it comes to your feet, they are underneath your bum and fairly high up, so sporty racer feel. Your knees have ample space and your shins have space from those heads. The tank looks long, but it's not really. Those clip-on handlebars do come back towards you, not just down, they do come back a little bit, so it is definitely comfortable. I have been riding now for a little bit and it's really not too bad, better than expected. The wind protection, there is none. You have this fly screen. It's actually not even a fly screen, it hides the back end of these two clocks, and it's more of a racer's number board, harking back to the 60s and 70s racers where they put their number on the front, and it's above that single headlight. If you remember the Moto Guzzi V7, the first edition, second edition, they had the number 7, either black number on a white background or white number on a black background, later even a chrome number on a black background, and it's more of a cosmetic look, and I think it looks really great and it fits the part. However, no wind protection, but the speeds we're going at, 100, 110, you don't really need that wind protection. This is comfortable when we tuck down, yeah, but you're not going to be riding like that for sustained periods of time. So just a little bit. Really, aesthetically, it's perfect. I really like that little fly screen on front. And then the dual clocks in all the models of the Moto Guzzi V7s, there are different interpretations. There's the stone, we've got the centenary, we've got the carbon, and the racer and the special. And some of those models have a single clock in front and some have two clocks. Now traditionally the Moto Guzzi V7 Special has the two clocks because it harks back to more the classical look. It has the spoked wheels and it has the two clocks up front with chrome bezels. Now this V7 Racer has, as per the Special, the two clocks. On the left you have your analog speedo with a little LCD display giving you some readouts, trip meter, fuel and that, and on the right you have the RPMs in analog. Now classic look, old school look, and I really like it. You can see this is a limited production. It is an open-ended numbered bike. If you look here on the triple clamp, it says V7 3rd edition Racer, number 0669 of this production run. It is a 2020 model, so it is a little bit on the exclusive side, being a numbered unit, and the V7 Racer is the most exclusive of the Moto Guzzi V7 range. The reason I say that, it has the best equipment or highest end equipment. Brembo brakes, for example, is I think standard on all of them. However, this one comes with Öland rear suspension, double shock at the back, both Ölands. You also have all the billet machine parts, like if you look at your knurled foot pegs and your levers. Really nice equipment. The brushed aluminium look. You have your brushed aluminium tank look with the red anodized
eagles on the side. Your number plate on the back front is also the brushed aluminium look. That single seat with a hump and the number boards at the back. So proper, true cafe racer, harking back to the old days. And it's not a home-built, garage-built, custom-built racer. I know that's quite the rage at the moment, and people are taking the 70s and 80s bikes and building themselves cafe racers. Now, I also know the air-cooled boxer motor, the older BMWs provide a perfect platform to build a racer off, and quite popular. However, this with Moto Guzzi, you have a true racer harking back to the 60s and 70s, and this V7 actually originates from 1967 when it was first launched, so over 50 years in production. So the best platform to have a racer harking back to those days. Then you have the traditional and oil-cooled 90-degree V7 motor, that 744cc motor, a quirky motor with the vibrations, the rumblings. When you flip the throttle at standstill, it rocks over to your right. Really cool. And then besides that, harking back to the original red frame, very valuable bike today and collectible, being the 1971 V7 Sport. That's that sort of lime green, and it has the red frame and got nicknamed the red frame bike. So since the relaunch, rebirth of the V7 red frame, which was in 2012 the first edition V7 Racer, and now all the way to the 2020 V7 Racer, all in the red frame. So here you have a proper racer harking back, emulating those old bikes, but based on a true 67 platform concept motor, even the shaft drive of the old Guzzis as they came out. So what better way to celebrate and ride a racer than on the truest of platforms with modern safety and rider aids. Obviously this bike is not built for high speeds like a superbike, so the nose screen in front is not the biggest of problems here. Should you be going 160, I'm sure you would really feel the buffeting and the wind. However, cruising along at 100, 110 as I've been doing here now, not a problem at all. It's nice to have a little bit of a breeze from the front on hot days like today. And here we dropped to one gear and we just want to roll it on, and you see really, you can. I'm still sitting upright, I'm not tucked in yet, and I'm well above speed limits. I'm going to tuck the gun now. And you can virtually run this little racer off the clock. That's a lot of fun. I didn't think that was possible, but I'm gonna do it again. Put my feet back, slide back onto the hump, the single seat hump, and we're gonna roll on here in top gear. And that is quite impressive for this motor. As mentioned, only got like 52 horsepower, 60 Newton meter, but I think that's what's so much fun about it. You don't expect this, and it puts a smile on your face. Obviously the super bikes of today and the bikes we've tested, like the Aprilia RSV4s and BMWs and all these monsters, they easily run past the 200 mark, but this little transverse and oil-cooled 744cc with 52 horsepower, 60 Newton meter. You don't think you're going to run it off the clock. And healthy speeds, well into the limits of being arrested and having some free board and lodging, but not what we're looking for today. We'll gladly pay for our accommodation and our food in Cape Town. But that put a smile on my face. That was a lot of fun. And you can just picture someone taking a black and white photo of you here, and you look like one of the famous guys around the Isle of Man of the 60s on this little thing. The suspension front feels good for me. The back, I would say, is a little bit stiff. I would loosen up just a little bit on some of the bumps. It really shoots up. Then again, it all depends on your weight and what you like on a feel. I need the front to be quite planted. The back I'm relaxed about. The handling is good though, really strong feel, and the input on handlebars, it is a narrow clip-on handlebar feel up front, but it feels sporty, racy, light, nimble, no complaints there. So I must say I've been running it along now at some speeds, and it really, with a torque, I must be honest here and incriminate myself, it comfortably runs over 160 up and downhill effortlessly in top gear. There's no need to shift down. You're running the open road, the torque is enough to keep it running above the 160 mark, no problem, no gear shifts needed. That's the fun part about these torquey motors, is that you don't have to work the gearbox really hard. When it comes to a cool factor, I definitely rate and score this bike very highly. I'm sure you would have realized that I'm quite fond of Moto Guzzis, and especially the V7s, owning 3 in the Route 21 collection. We have the very first Racer of 2012-2013, that is with the shiny chrome tank, and only the 2018 Carbon, that's a 3rd edition V7, and then last year picking up the V7 Centenario celebrating 100 years. And if you look at all the information on that little LCD display, you have a clock, you have the MGCT, that's your Moto Guzzi traction controls and that, you have your odometer reading, your trip reading, your gear indicator on the side, and the trip, the time, average kilometers per hour, so plenty of information, your fuel consumption, liters per 100, temperature 23 degrees Celsius, and just all round more than enough information that you would expect on a classic looking, harking back to the old days, racer. 100 k's an hour, really the gearing is great. That 6th gear you run well past 160 up to 180, but it feels just as good at 100 k's an hour dawdling along. You are in between 3,500 and 4,000 RPM, so that 6th gear is just great. It runs all over, you don't have to bounce up and down through the gearbox. So from aesthetically pleasing to mechanically, all ticks all the boxes, and honoring the past definitely ticks all the boxes there as well. Some niceties with the high-end equipment ticks those boxes, and if you could see my face inside this helmet, definitely this bike has put a proper smile on my face. I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to maximize my time on this bike today. I'm going to bring it back to the shop as late as I possibly can. just to recap, you have a classical cafe racer in the Moto Guzzi V7 Racer. It's a classical retro racer based on a 1967 concept bike that was launched in 67, Moto Guzzi V7. The motor was first designed in 64, has been used since 1967, originally a 700, now 744, so 750cc. A absolutely classical racer on a classical platform, really amazing. The classical motor, the shaft drive, the aluminium tank brush, the aluminium number board in front, the number boards by the seat. It has Ohlins, it has the aluminium billet machine foot pegs. It is a numbered by exclusive 744cc, 209 kilos, 21 liters in the tank, motor producing 52 horsepower, 60 newton meters. Absolute world class hand built Italian bike in Mandello dell'Ario, the factory all the Guzzis came from since its birth in 1921. So all the V7s since 1967 come from the same production line, same factory as this modern racer we have today. All round just a stunning piece, from aesthetically to mechanically. It has everything, and it gets a thumbs up from me. No more building in your garage, custom job. This is from the factory, classical racer. Look at how cool classical this bike looks. I must say, I am really a big fan of these Moto Guzzi V7s. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Moto Guzzi V7 Racer with us. Please remember to click like, give us a thumbs up, leave us some comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to follow us for more.